Welcome to SVG TV News for Friday, August 19th, 2016. I'm Lafern Fraser. In the news tonight, as continued efforts are made to complete and open the Argyle International Airport, this country today signed an air services agreement with the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, at Cabinet Room. The documents were signed by Prime Minister and Minister of Airports, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, and Director General of Civil Aviation of the United Arab Emirates, Saif Mohammed Al Suwaidi. Prime Minister Gonsalves said this is part of his government's initiative to ensure that air travel to and from that part of the world is facilitated. He also announced that further efforts are being made to expand trade and investment opportunities in the UAE and other Middle Eastern countries.
On the verge of completing the Argyle International Airport and opening it. And this air services agreement is parallel with that particular infrastructural development for aircraft originating from St. Vincent and the Grenadines and aircraft originating out of United Arab Emirates, and it governs all the various arrangements. But this is an agreement which is required before we can actually have the connections themselves. And we have been doing this with several countries. This is not the first one which I'm signing here. Did we do one with Qatar, PS Pompey? Not as yet. This is the first Arab countries which we're dealing with. But we have done it with several others, but I know they have expressed an interest.
Director General of Civil Aviation of the United Arab Emirates, Saif Mohammed Al Suwaidi, says the UAE is #1 for international passengers and is the third busiest airport in the world, and commended the government of SVG for its outreach through air travel.
The UAE has, at last count, concluded agreement with close to 168 countries, of which 131 open sky agreement. Finally, Your Excellency, we should congratulate each other with respect to this landmark event by which we are establishing a system which will be the creative foundation to encourage airlines to explore the possibility of establishing air link between our two great nations, either directly or through partnership, for example, the code-share arrangement. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, once again I express my appreciation for the gracious reception which you have extended to my team. I would like forward to have opportunity to work with you at the imminent IQ 39th Assembly in Montreal in September.
Opposition leader Arnim Eustace is suggesting that Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves investigate what he says is the trade of US dollars well below its value. Eustace told SVG TV News that he is aware of cases where people are paying 2 EC dollars instead of the normal rate of 2.70 EC dollars for 1 US. He said this is considered to be money laundering and that there needs to be an investigation into the matter, which he said is a more serious one than funds which have been legally contributed to the NDP.
I'm hearing that virtually every day now. What persons selling US dollars well below their value. And that only happens when people want to launder money. When they get them by some illegal or irregular means, and they're prepared to take whatever it is for it. And when I hear figures like $2 for US, 2 EC for 1 US, that's a big discount. You know? So I'm saying, well, the Prime Minister look at investigating a payment we got for elections, investigate that too. That's a critical matter in relation to our country.
The opposition leader added that there are still a lot of unanswered questions lingering which the government needs to answer regarding the way in which public funds are spent.
Remember at the time $1 million deposited in the NCB? Nobody is willing to make any statement how it got there or how it left there. You know, we have given information on monies, Petrocaribbean monies being used to pay the firm in Jamaica who got the contract to supply all the building materials which were given away during the elections, and those are public funds. And we gave some of the figures already from the check register of the Petrocarine company. You know? I want those investigated too. You passed a bill to bring some legality to that kind of activity. 11 years after you've been spending money in a manner which is not in accordance with the consolidated fund and outside the purview of the Parliament of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You know? So there are a lot of things that need investigation. Not just a deposit to the NDP. Look at those and explain them.
According to Eustace, while he has not received word from local or international authorities as to whether an investigation is launched into the $1.3 million contribution to the NDP, he is willing to cooperate with any investigation. With a yearly contribution to the University of the West Indies of $7 million, $6 million in scholarships and grants, and some $3 million to the Student Disadvantaged Loan, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Dr. Ralph Gonsalves says that his administration is determined to improve the skill set of citizens. Speaking on a radio program on Thursday, Prime Minister Gonsalves said that while many persons in the public service would like to go off and study, this is an unrealistic feat as it interferes with the overall operation of the country.
A number of teachers get disappointed that they haven't gotten their study leave. But you can't send too many persons away at the same time, because you can denude the teaching population. And even when they're doing the programs here, we have to be very careful how we are structuring they having time off from the classroom to go and study. So, and there are challenges of managing all that, and which everybody has to be very sensitive. We have to look at individual advancement, and we have to look at also the need to have things, the collective.
Dr. Gonsalves called upon public servants, particularly those seeking higher education, to pursue subject areas that are relevant to the society.
But we need, in addition to methodologies and approaches to education, and you know, and the improvement of pedagogy, of the improvement of teaching and learning processes, we have to have the content. If you see what I mean, having done your teacher training, instead of doing, for instance, a degree in science education, you may add more value if you do a degree in chemistry,
Okay.
or in biology,
Right.
or in physics. You see the point I'm making?
Yes, follow.
Rather than having a further degree in, I mean, you have a degree in education for the teaching of English. It would be good if we have persons with special degrees in the content of English and English literature and so on and so forth.
Yes.
And that is an area which I've been urging the Ministry of Education and the teachers.
Bursaries of $350 EC were handed out to 68 needy school children from each constituency here in SVG. The funds were raised by SVG's High Commissioner in London, Senor Lewis, who says he is always delighted to do his duty, helping the less fortunate, and he is grateful to the persons and organizations in England who gave to the cause. Lewis said that he will continue to do his part to source funds and support to help Vincentian students, and reflected on the high increase of children in school today.
The amount I know is small. I wish it could be more. But I'm working on a plan in London for greater assistance to many more children next year and at a higher level of contribution. Sometimes it is very easy to forget that in 2001, the number of our children who went to secondary school was only 38%. And within 5 years of that date, all our children are able to go to secondary school. That, to my mind, is a major achievement. And if that is not success, I don't know what is.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Sir Louis Straker showed his appreciation to the persons working hard to help SVG by networking and forming relationships all over the world. He said that this action helps to boost SVG and gain significant contributions, support, and opportunities.
Our heads of mission, our ambassadors, our consul generals are stationed in different countries and doing a tremendous job in order to have benefits for us here in St. Vincent. So the Ministry of Foreign Affairs might not be a ministry like Transport and Works that you hear much about, but we are working very hard in order to have benefits here for our people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Every member of the staff, Ms. Sandy Peters, and those who are here, they have been working very, very hard, coordinating, making contacts, so that we can get the benefits for us here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The minister urged parents to play their parental role in their child's life and ensure that they are disciplined with school, as a good education will take them very far.
Do the best you can, no matter what the sacrifice is. Get your children in school. Go to the PTA meetings. It's not enough to send them to school, because some of you don't attend PTA meeting. And you put the whole burden on the teacher, so that when your children fail, you blame the teachers. But when they fail, most of the time is with the parents. You have to make sure you stay on top of your children. You want them to go beyond you, so that if you did not get a secondary education, your children should get that. And you should have the ambition that they would go to college and get a degree. This is how you lift your family out of poverty.
Several Vincentians were among 58 Caribbean nationals arrested by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE) officers during an operation in New York targeting criminal immigrants. The raids ended on Wednesday. ICE said the detainees were from 17 countries, including Trinidad and Tobago, the Dominican Republic, Belize, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as well as Guyana. It did not disclose the names of those arrested, but said during the 5-day enforcement action, officers apprehended immigrants with criminal convictions, in addition to others who fall under the agency's enforcement priorities. Those arrested had past convictions for rape, kidnapping, robbery, burglary, and other serious criminal offenses. ICE said those with outstanding orders of deportation or who returned to the U.S. illegally after being deported are subject to immediate removal from the country. It said the remaining individuals are in ICE custody awaiting a hearing before an immigration judge or pending travel arrangements for removal in the near future. This country today recorded another road fatality, 17-year-old student Kiara Short of New Prospect. The incident occurred in the wee hours of this morning on the Hopewell Road. 3 other persons inside the vehicle, including the driver, are hospitalized at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. SVG TV's Nikita Tony visited the site of the accident, as well as family members of the deceased, and has this report.
Police are now investigating the death of Kiara Short, who lost her life in the wee hours of Friday morning in a tragic vehicular accident. According to reports, 17-year-old Kiara Short was among 4 occupants inside of the vehicle, including her 20-year-old sister, Crystal Short, 59-year-old Albert Williams of Freeland, and the driver David Charles of Hopewell. They were all said to be on their way back home from a popular nightclub when the vehicle went over an embankment some 139 feet deep around 2:45 a.m. Aunt of the deceased, Simone Jacobs, recalled her reaction to the passing of her niece, describing her as a pleasant child.
She just recently got her results from CXC. She got 7 subjects out of 8. Right now, we're still in shock. It was like after 5 this morning when her father called me to say somebody told him that she got into an accident just above our house and she died. I could not believe it, because after he told me that, I was like, please let it not be true, please let it not be true, because I didn't want to believe that she actually died. It wasn't until sometime around after 6 when my sister called to say that when they do call her phone again, the police answered and said, yes, she's there, and they were about to move the body.
Noting that the 2016 New Adelphi Secondary School graduate was staying with her father on the leeward side of the island, Jacobs added that she has no idea how her niece got herself into such a situation.
Today she left by her father saying she was coming to visit her aunt in Sears. That's all they knew. They didn't expect to hear that she would have been coming from somewhere at that time in the morning. Because they thought she was at her aunt's house. They didn't really know that she left there and went further. So right now my mother and my sisters are in Kanawan. They're still in shock. We still can't believe it. And her mom still is like, it haven't been easy for her. Over the last couple of weeks, it have not been easy for her, and for her to hear this now, it's even worse.
Short's great-grandmother, Eunice Jacobs, said she will remember her granddaughter for her mannerly ways, noting that she too is left puzzled as to why this has happened.
And me can't get to understand that is my Rihanna. And it shocked me, give me a shock. I can't explain. It's so shocking. But what to happen? It have to happen. Where she did going, I don't know. Where she went, I don't know. Nobody know where she went, nobody know where she was going. And suddenly so. But what to do? May she rest in peace.
As for the condition of the other 3 occupants of the vehicle, SVG TV News understands that they are in a stable condition. Nikita Tony reporting for SVG TV News.
And sincere condolences to her family. Bradley Douglas took the top spot for the Group 1, while Ray Ann James captured the top position for Group 2 in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs annual essay writing competition held earlier this week. The competition, which saw participation from secondary schools and tertiary institutions, was divided into 2 groups. Group 1, persons between 15 to 20 years old, and Group 2, persons between 21 and 30 years old. Speaking at the prize-giving ceremony, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sir Louis Straker, stated that the topics sustainable development and human trafficking, along with the competition's theme, energizing economic growth and development in the 21st century with diplomacy, highlights the importance of diplomacy to a nation like SVG and gives the participants a platform for meaningful engagement on matters relating to the state.
The students, leaders of tomorrow, should be involved in the process and must be allowed to think outside of the box and to engage meaningfully on matters concerning the state. It is therefore imperative that all stakeholders, the public and private sectors, including non-governmental and community-based organizations, collaborate in creating an environment that is tailored to understanding the realities and challenges of sovereignty in the 21st century, and to redouble our efforts at securing a sustainable path towards development in all sectors.
Sir Louis thanked sponsor Digicel for its continued partnership with the hosting of the competition over the years.
I must encourage all students that fall within the 2 categories to continue to participate in the competition next year. Further, I must thank the parents and teachers who encourage students to write essays. I also take this opportunity to make special mention of Digicel SVG Limited for its invaluable partnership, which contributed to the successful completion of the competition through the donation of tablets, smartphones, and cash prizes. The Ministry welcomes such public-private partnership as we seek to enlighten the general public on the importance of foreign policy and diplomacy to the development of our country.